Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rock Squad podcast, the latest in everything rock music news, reviews, and discussion. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Chino, joined by my good friend and bandmate, Mr. Dave Marini. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
That's going all right. You know, living the dream. It's Monday night, recording a Rock Squad podcast. So yeah, it's all good.
Can't wait. I can't wait to dig deep into all these hot topics.
Where can the folks find us on the internet?
Right now, you can go to Rock Squad on Instagram or Rock Squad on Twitter. Connect with us, talk to us, tag us, whatever you want to do. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel and to click the like button and to write reviews. Last week we had lots of good traction.
Yeah,
we got a little bit of heat from some Greta Van Fleet fans.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do some housekeeping before we jump in here. That our views are our views, and we both feel that music is art, just like anything else that's art, and it's subjective, and people will like it and people don't like it. So if you wanna follow us and listen to our opinion on what's happening, we love to hear your opinion.
Right.
But remember, it's just opinions. It's not, there's no rip. If you want to listen to a band that sounds like a 70s cover band, and that's what gets you hard, go for it.
That's such a backhanded way of saying it. It's still like, if you want to listen to it, but the thing is that I think when it comes to music, especially, because we're musicians, obviously we're not like on the level of a Greta Van Fleet or anything like that. Sure. But I think that just on a base level with any band, even though we may not like their music, that we definitely can still admire the fact that any musician or artist knows how to play and perform. Sure. And that's not really in question when we're saying that a certain band or artist isn't to our taste. It's just us,
It just doesn't float our boat, man. It just doesn't float the boat. That's all it is. And just like some people like abstract art, some people like impressionism, it changes from time to time.
It does.
And what fits into my world of rock may not fit into your world of rock, but it's all one world of rock, and it'll keep us coming together.
One love, man. One love.
One love.
One rock. We're all about peace here on the channel. I think, we're just having fun talking about rock topics, and we do appreciate the good and the bad of the comments. So, we're enjoying all of it. And up on the channel right now as well, I did a rock album review for the new album from Evanescence. It's called The Bitter Truth. And people have been digging into that review as well. Have you heard any of the new Evanescence, Dave?
I haven't checked out any Evanescence.
It's pretty cool. Again, I'm not a huge Evanescence guy. I don't think I really know any of their music since, they've released, over the last decade or so. Even before then, the last album I listened to was that breakthrough record. Sure. So I was actually really pleasantly surprised with the new Evanescence album, and I do highly recommend it. And that review, as well as reviews for Chevelle, their latest record, Kings of Leon, are up there as well. And it's just a fun way for us to talk about all.
I do think that Amy Lee, as a vocalist, is probably one of the strongest female rock vocals, hands down. So this is a perfect example of something that I'm not necessarily into, but I appreciate and respect the musicianship involved in doing what they do. So that's a perfect example of what we were just talking.
Yeah, on this record, the vocal stuff that she is doing, the notes that she can hit and the things that she can do, I don't think there are many vocalists in general out there who can do what she can do. So it's pretty cool.
I think it comes down, we talk about it all the time, right? Like being undeniable. And that's the reason why that woman is in that position, is because she's undeniably fantastic. So I'm sure, I hope the record meets all my requirements.
I think it will, for sure. So check out that rock album review is up on the channel right now, and let's get into the show. It's our second podcast, and let's give you a little rundown of how we're going to do things. We're going to do a little a new segment, a new feature that we kind of just figured out between the last show and this show that we're going to talk about, which is the track of the week, where we recommend some tracks, new or old or whatever in between of the stuff that we've been listening to. So that's coming up in just a little bit. We're going to get to this week's headliner topic, the big topic of this week's show, which is all about this 5,000 person concert, this experimental concert to kind of test COVID-19 in a concert situation that they held in Spain. Could this be a good sign for the return of live concerts? Is this going to go towards, eventually getting us back into going to concerts again? We'll be talking about that, as well as 3 opening act topics. These are going to be our opening topics that we talk about in the world of rock music news. And the first one that I want to get to is about one of our favorite rock bands on the planet, Biffy Clyro, who are incredible. We love Biffy, Mon the Biff, and they're saying that they're working on a sister record to A Celebration of Endings, which is their most recent album that they put out in August of 2020. And I guess they're making the most of their time off the road, just like every other band. They're not touring, so they're making the most of their time off the road. They're working on their sister record to A Celebration of Endings, and the band tweeted that the record is called RMV. We're not quite sure what that stands for. I'm sure we're going to find out eventually, but it's taking shape, and they use the hashtag getting serious, Dave. So that's how we know that they're definitely serious about it. So they're not really any strangers to making companion records, I think, because Puzzle had Missing Pieces. Only Revolutions had Lonely Revolutions, which were B-sides from that record. Opposites had Similarities, but it's been a couple of years since they released a companion record to go along with one of their big studio efforts. I'm pretty pumped about it. I don't know. I'm sure you are as well.
Absolutely, man. I think, first off, Mon the Biff, and that's fantastic. I'm a huge Biffy Clyro fan too. I think personally, Simon right now is writing better than he's ever written for the band. The maturity of the writing and the just the experimentation over the last record into this record, and even the soundtrack thing they released and all that stuff. It's awesome. He's writing some of the best songs of his life, and if the last record isn't an indication of that, then this next one, I'm expecting great things from, because I feel like they wouldn't do this unless they really knew they had something to do. That's the other thing about this band, is just because they have these kind of themed record or themed B-side, they always seem to get what they're doing, and it always seems to come together very well. They're one of those bands that can really just pull it off no matter what they're doing. Kind of at the level, like if you want to compare them to an American band, I would say they put things together as well as like a Green Day put things together, where where they could legitly have a Broadway musical based on some of their songs. Just like, not that that's what Green Day is known for, but I could definitely see how the expansion and the evolution of their songs could go bigger and better, like how American Idiot did for Green Day and that kind of thing in America. The problem that, and we talk about this a lot, is I don't know why the love isn't necessarily there for Biffy in North America, the way that they're taken in the UK. Obviously they're from the UK, but for whatever reason, we're talking about a band that, in a lot of people's opinion, a lot of journalists' opinion around the world, they could be the best rock band on the planet right now.
It's true.
Hands down. And if you haven't been to a Biffy show and you haven't experienced their live show, their live show in Europe is up there with Muse, is up there with the biggest bands in that country, the biggest rock acts of that country. And for whatever reason, and we talk about this a lot, they just don't get the love and support here. And it's not that they're not doing the things they need to be doing. They're touring, they're always touring with bands that are perfectly fit for them, like the Foo Fighters and bands like that. So they're getting the exposure to the audience that they need. And we've watched their shows grow. I know you saw them the first time at the Garrison in Toronto, which is a very small club. And, and we've both seen them in much smaller rooms, and we've seen them in arenas. And if you go online, you can see them playing to hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. So I'm not really sure what it's going to take for them to break, or if that's even in their realm right now, or they're just going to focus in on the rest of the world, because for whatever reason, and I don't know, maybe you have a different take, North America, US and Canada hasn't really embraced them the way that we hope that they would. But they're an amazing band, extremely talented, and I'm super excited for whatever comes next, because I'm never let down by anything they do.
Yeah, for sure. Me neither. And I do enjoy how prolific they are in putting out so much of their material. And that, I don't know what it is. I think what A Celebration of Endings is their 8th studio album. So I don't know if it's really in the cards for them to blow up in North America like they have in the UK and elsewhere in the world. And they definitely deserve it because their music is incredible. And I think they're one of the bands that I always recommend to people. If they say, oh, what's a band that you like? I always go straight to Biffy Clyro because they're just incredible. And, they started out early in their career, and I didn't get into them until, they started doing more mainstream stuff, but they started out earlier in their career doing more of a hardcore emo kind of thing. And then they transitioned into being this big stadium rock band. And, for both of us, their songs have become such a huge part of our lives, going to see their concerts. Like their anthems and their songs are the soundtrack to my life. And like, why aren't they the soundtrack to everybody's life?
I know,
because they do it all.
I like you said, when people like ask for recommendations for bands and stuff, they're my number one when anyone's like rock and roll is dead. And I'm like, I disagree. I heavily disagree because they're putting out some of the best rock songs in the last 15, 20 years, hands down. Like, and we're not talking like one or two songs a record or like a good single every couple of years. We're talking front to back, solid music, solid albums. And I've never been disappointed live on the recordings. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. So I can't wait to see what happens next.
And we benefit, hopefully, fingers crossed, they do come back and tour again in the near future. But, we benefited as being Canadian fans of a huge UK rock band that when they do come, like when I saw them at the Garrison, that was on the Only Revolutions tour, that was a huge record for them. That was one of their breakthroughs. And I saw them in the tiniest room. And then we saw them at the Opera House in Toronto, which again is not huge compared to what they play elsewhere. And then we saw them at the Phoenix as well. So as North American fans of this band, it's almost like they're our little secret, even though we want more people to know about them.
But we've also seen them at we saw them open for the Foo Fighters at Air Canada Center too.
Oh no, it was Muse. They opened up for Muse.
Yeah, great show there too. They can pull it off. They're definitely that kind of band.
Yeah. And very much looking forward to this new sister record, to A Celebration of Endings, hoping that we don't have to wait too long for it, because now I'm just itching for more Biffy stuff, even though they've given us 2 albums in 2 years, one in 2019, one in 2020, and they got this new stuff coming out. I can't wait.
Me neither.
All right, so let's get to the next opening act topic on today's show, which is Weezer, another one of our favorite bands, have announced a special live stream event they're going to be doing in LA on April the 16th and 17th. The band's going to be performing with the they're going to be performing at the Walt Disney Concert Hall alongside the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra and the Youth Orchestra. Los Angeles are going to be playing OK Human, which is their most recent record, and they're going to be doing a bunch of classics. They released a promo video where you could hear sort of a classical version of Buddy Holly, which I thought was pretty cool. And then we got this new record, Van Weezer, coming out in May, which they've delayed a bunch of times. Are you going to be forking out the cash for this live stream, Dave?
I would like to. I'm not sure if it's going to work with my schedule. I'm sure you can watch it for a few days after it goes, but I'm stoked. I'm stoked for it. I think that Weezer is one of those bands that we agree on that, I don't think Weezer has changed. I think their fans have changed personally. I think that their demographic has kind of like, you're either with them or against them. It's either you can't get over Pinkerton and the Blue Album and nothing they do will ever compare.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Or you love the songwriting and you feel that they've continued on a path through the years. So for them to get together and do something with the Philharmonic in LA, I think it's only the next thing. Like, they've done everything else, they've done the Muppets, they've done this, they've done everything you can do as a band. So if they want to do something big and loud with a full orchestra, I think it's amazing. And I know I've heard some interviews with Rivers where he's been talking about how this was his pet sounds, like this was their attempt to really like hone in on that vibe and that kind of style for writing Weezer songs, which to me, and I'm sure you, was very refreshing because, the last 5, 6 Weezer records have had kind of the same kind of formula of writing catchy rock songs. And they've done, I believe, a very good job of really honing in on their craft of songwriting and how they write songs and how they present songs. And I'm a big fan of the last couple records. And I think that doing something like this is something new, something fresh, maybe make you look at Weezer in a different light. It's been almost 30 years of them being in a band or more. So why not? Why not do that? Give the people what they want. Make it like Pet Sounds on steroids. I'm fully supportive of Weezer playing with the Philharmonic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I've seen some criticism of these live stream events. People saying, well, they're not really live and therefore they're not worth paying for, but they're not realizing the production value going into these performances. I paid for the Jimmy Eat World Futures performance that they did back in January, I think, as well as the Biffy one. Biffy Clyro did a live stream back when they released their record last year. So I did really enjoy those. And it didn't bother me that they weren't directly live from the stage. To me, I appreciated the production value and the effort that went into making them a complete, more of a concert film than just a bunch of cameras in front of a stage. So I thought that was really cool. And I don't really get the criticism of people saying, well, it's got to be live or else I'm not going to pay for it, or because it's not an actual live show that maybe it doesn't have the value that fans should invest in. But I don't really believe that. I think that we're in a situation right now where people can't go to shows in most of the world, and bands still need to be able to make a living and still need to be able to connect with their fans and promote their new records in a way that is going to, still put some food on their table. Not to say that I don't think Weezer are struggling in any way, but they need to play live, and this is a way to do it. And I think it's pretty exciting. The Jimmy Eat World one was good. The Biffy one was good. And I have high hopes for this one as well.
Yeah, I really hope it. I really hope it does well. I too am not against the pre-recorded release, like the concert video kind of thing. I think that the situation we're in right now, if you're putting time and energy, I personally would rather see an artistic expression than a sterile, stale one camera, a couple cameras. Okay, they're playing the song like they're on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. That, like, I would first, or a Tiny Desk concert. If I see another fucking Tiny Desk concert, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Those are great. I love Tiny Desk. What are you talking about?
I'm over it. I'm over it. It's like time to move on. So like, yeah, if you wanna jump in feet first and work on editing and theatrics, I'm all for that. Like, I am all for the over the top. Let's change how it is. And like you said, Biffy, who we were just talking about, did a great one. And I heard Simon Neil talking about how everything went out the window when he realized that the camera didn't have to face them. Mm-hmm. Like, it could face anywhere, and it didn't have to be them on a stage.
And it followed them through the space, right? It did,
and they did an amazing. It's an amazing. I know we're really high on Biffy on this episode, but
of course
they did a fantastic job, and they are legit one of the best live bands in the world. So to see them have time and to make it something unique and to have something, I would prefer that any day over a sterile like band in their rehearsal space, like playing into a camera,
And with live shows, you can watch any number of Biffy shows, Weezer shows, whatever shows on YouTube, which are basically just filmed concert sets, which is nothing wrong with that. But that is very different than what these bands are doing with creating, Weezer getting, the Philharmonic Orchestra to come in and do something that is, a lot of production value that is giving fans something, I think, that is going to give them bang for their buck and be worth their money.
Yeah. Also, these things aren't going away. Like, if anything has been proven over the last year, is that we are going to see way more of this,
right?
Going into the future. The costs of touring alone, like, are crazy. So if you can present something that's not just a sterile, this is my band playing, and you can edit it and make it an experience, which everybody wants, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. And I look forward for seeing my bands do, or my favorite bands doing the same thing, or their vision of the same thing.
Yeah, agreed. And we're looking forward to the next Weezer album, because the thing is, like, back in the day, I remember when the dark times in between when Pinkerton came out and the Green album came out. We were in high school, and that felt like forever. That felt like
1,000 years.
1,000 years, that 5 or 6 year period in between when Pinkerton came out and the Green album. And ever since then, they've maintained a rapid pace of releasing albums. kind of like Biffy do, which I really enjoy. And Van Weezer is going to bring back the shreddy guitars and the big sound. So looking forward to
And
that.
that's awesome. Like a lot of people don't know that like when Weezer started, they were all like heavy metal kids, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
like like they purposely went out and was like, we're not doing the spandex and the big hair. We're
Right.
gonna do something different. And
Mhm.
the different was awesome. Like
Yeah.
they nailed it for that time and being different. And so I think that this album, especially with the passing of Eddie Van Halen, I think that we're going to see some really some slick solos and some finger tapping. And once again, another angle, like we're going from the Beach Boys into Led Zeppelin
Right.
or into Van Halen, just like that. And I think that that's going to open up a lot of people's minds to, hey, maybe this band isn't the Sweater Song. Maybe this
Yeah.
band isn't just, and we've known that since the Green album. Like we waited
Right.
so long for that Green album. Like I'm never not going to be a fan now because I'm
Yeah.
holding on to every little morsel there is.
Well, eventually we'll get another time we'll get into the story about us going to, sitting outside of the Edge in Toronto to get Weezer tickets, and then getting the tickets, and then going to see them on Much Music and ask them a question on TV. And then we went to the Island Club and we saw them play. We have many Weezer stories in our arsenal.
It's pretty crazy that your first band interview, after having a career on radio and being a musician and playing shows all over the world yourself, that your first interview was Rivers and Pat from Weezer. Right. So it's, but we'll talk about that on another.
I know. We'll just whet people's appetites with that story, that resulted in us chucking a chair off of a roof, I think, into the water or something.
We were high on drugs, Nick. I don't remember a thing.
Causing a ruckus. All right, so let's get on to the final opening act of this week's episode, which is that Stone Temple Pilots have announced a 25th anniversary deluxe box set of their classic album Tiny Music, songs from the Vatican gift shop. It's coming out on July 23rd. It's going to feature a remaster of the original album, a disc of rarities and alternate mixes, another disc of a live show from Panama City Beach, Florida in March 1997. And this album is classic. I was listening to some STP today, and I still go back to this record as being one of my favorite STP records. Obviously, Core and Purple are fantastic. The stuff they released after that was good as well. But something about Tiny Music, Big Bang Baby, Lady Picture Show, Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart. I just keep going back to that record. I don't know if I'm going to shell out the cash for like a super deluxe edition because I like STP, but I'm not a diehard fan by any means. But this, I think, is exciting for STP fans, especially if you're a fan of that record.
Obviously it's, STP is one of my favorite bands of all time. I think Scott Weiland was one of the best frontmen to ever be in a band. So there's a few things about that record though that that people might not know about that record. Like Brandon O'Brien is the producer of that record, and it's really this raw rock band with a great front man playing songs that didn't have any rules. There's no rules on any of those songs. You listen to Lady Picture Show and you listen to that after like Big Bang Baby or something. They're totally different songs, but there's this like raw energy that's like that. It really, like, for O'Brien in that era, it really set the tone for all the other shit he would end up doing, like, and like it's weird to think that like he did 10 by Pearl Jam. Right. And he did, and like Get a Grip by Aerosmith, and then you have a song like Big Bang Baby that's like this raunchy like stripper song. Like it's so bizarre that those and I love this record. I think it's great that they're doing more with the stuff they have. Like I expect that to happen with Soundgarden too, where over the years there'll be more things released and stuff. It's super exciting. Definitely one of my favorite records of that era of rock. One of my favorite singers, the DeLeo brothers, one of my favorite, like they're great. It's a great band. I love Stone Temple Pilots. And yeah, it's one of those records. It really set a precedent. And the Rage records that were done with Brendan O'Brien afterwards, and who else? He mixed Super Unknown. Like it's crazy the amount that came out of that era of him. But I really think for this record, as a producer, he knocked it out of the park. And I think that there was a rawness to this record and the rawness to the band being, even though they're a 4-piece, like it is just a guitar, bass, drums, and a singer. There was something about it. There was magic captured when they did that record. And this is coming from me, and it's not even my favorite Sons of the Pilots record. My favorite Sons of the Pilots record is number 4.
Number 4 is great too.
And a lot of people would be like, "Are you crazy?" But for whatever reason, I think that like when number 4 was released, I think that the anticipation of that record and the way the band was handling themselves at that time was for like late 90s. I think it came out or whatever. It reestablished what a rock band should be. Mm-hmm. It was like all of a sudden it was like, okay, yeah, we were mixed up in the grunge and all this, and at the time, nu metal was really big, and they were like, no, this is what a front man in a band looks like. This is when even they're like, if you look at the liner notes of number 4, it really just showcases like we want to be a cool rock band, and they fucking pull it off, hands down. So that's a great record. I'm also going to say that I like the songs on that record, front to back, not just the style of the band, because that might get me in trouble that I'm judging them because they look cooler in that. But I feel that it was a better package. That being said, doing this new release with all this stuff and the old video from Florida, I think it's fantastic. I'm gonna love it. I love that record. It's fantastic. All the songs are good on it. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, me as well. And I think with SDP, they combine that rock and roll kind of like you're saying, raunchiness with Beatles-esque harmonies, and Scott Weiland always really had a really keen ear for great melodies. And the DeLeo brothers, the interplay between the guitar and the bass on their records, and the drums, Eric Krutz's drums as well. That 3-piece with Scott Weiland's vocals has always been really, really special. And I was watching, I think it was on Howard Stern, some old YouTube clips of them on the Howard Stern show. They sounded fantastic. And I was actually thinking about the Shangri-La-Di-Da record as well, which came out in the early 2000s, and the last record that they did with Scott Weiland in 2010, which was the self-titled album. That was another return to form. I know we're supposed to be talking about Tiny Music, but it just goes to show you how strong. They took gaps in their career. They took long stretches off as a band, but whenever they came back together, they sounded great, and they sound great with their new frontman as well. But there is something special about it in that original lineup.
Absolutely, man. I love it.
All right. So those are our 3 opening act topics of this week. Let us know what you thought of the topics this week in the comments. And this is this week's headliner topic. This is the big one. 5,000 people attended a COVID-19 live experiment concert in Spain for a band called Love of Lesbian. Everyone in attendance had to be tested for COVID-19 beforehand. They were able to view the results almost instantly through an app they were using. Everyone had to wear masks, but from the pictures that I've seen, they didn't have to social distance. They were all next to each other, wearing masks. And I guess this whole thing was an experiment to gauge how much COVID-19 would spread in a concert environment. And I'm hoping that it was successful. But either way, do you think this would be a good sign for the return of live concerts in the near future?
I guess it'll depend on how many people die from going to this concert.
Hopefully none. Well, if everybody's tested beforehand, then ideally you don't have anything to worry about. I wouldn't think.
Absolutely.
And a problem.
Yeah, I think that, I think we're going to have to start doing these kinds of little tests here and there. Mm-hmm. I personally, I would have maybe done the 500 person thing and then scaled it up. Just to be safe. But I'm not a...
Gotta go big or go home, Dave.
Yeah, go big or go home. And that's not very rock and roll of me, but, we are living in a pandemic, so I want things to stay open if they open. There was a couple things that I was reading that, one of the organizers said, our concert will be safer than walking down the streets. And I think that I'm all for the testing the water, but you got to be careful. But before 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by, before you start tooting your own horn, this is an experiment. and you're doubling down. I'm like, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. So, I hope everybody's fine. And it sounds like they're doing all the things that need to be done. And this testing isn't a new thing for live shows. They've been doing it for like outdoor comedy shows in the States a lot.
Right.
I know Dave Chappelle has a bunch of stuff like that. Everybody going to his shows in Texas with Joe Rogan are getting tested beforehand, and it seems to be working. Dave Chappelle still got COVID, but overall, the shows themselves, overall, the shows themselves have been successful, and there hasn't been any complaints from the people attending those shows.
Yeah.
So we got to test it. It really matters about, like, honestly, I feel that it's going to matter about death rates. Like, we're getting everybody vaccinated. It's really going to lie on how many people are still passing away from this horrible situation. So hopefully the people that get sick are already vaccinated. So it's a minimal illness, if anything. And I think this is what we're going to see. If you want to go to a show, there's already talk, I know, with Live Nation and other big venues, that they're going to have like a concert vaccine passport where you have to prove that you've been vaccinated in the last 24 hours. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. The things that I worry about, or as like a promoter would worry about, is, the cost involved in keeping people safe, right? Like,
right.
Being in a band and putting on shows and touring is already so expensive. And to throw on an extra $30,000 or $20,000 to test people and hire nurses and shit, these are expenses that can't happen in this industry. Like, you're already just barely getting to the show, and tickets are already sky high in the last couple of years. So, are people going to pay $500 because they're saying that the tickets or the tests are being covered, but they're being covered by the people buying the ticket is what's going to happen. Right. As we all know, that's what it always breaks down to. So you can play it off like, oh no, it's all included, but in the end, our $75 ticket just went to $150. So how does that impact every level of the business? Because I know personally that it pretty much makes it that we're not going to be able to play live shows until this isn't the situation. So, I really hope for the best. I really hope that they put their time in and they do it right, and they set it up so that the rest of the world can see, if you follow these steps, we can get it done and we can bring back music. Financially, I don't know how viable it is, but I really want with everything in my soul for it to be a perfect experience where no one gets sick and they're like, yep, they did it. Everyone else can do it too. But
yeah,
time will tell, man.
They've been doing concerts and festivals in Australia and New Zealand and that kind of thing. I'm not sure exactly if these types of precautions have been taken for any of those kind of shows. I'm not sure if the vaccine is necessary for that, if they've just completely gotten over COVID that they don't have to worry about it. And I think that would be the most ideal situation in this case, is that at some point in the near future, whether that be this year or next year, that these precautions may not be needed. Like you're saying, if everybody's vaccinated, then hopefully that would return things to a level of normalcy, that then when we can hopefully go to shows without having to add on this extra cost, like you're saying, or add on extra precautions that we need to take every time we go to a concert. I imagine it's not going to be as simple as that. Especially in places like North America and Europe, where we haven't kicked this thing in the butt as much as they have in other areas of the world. So as much as we want to just go back to normal, be all sweating all over each other and all the disgusting things we used to do at concerts before, I think it's going to be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I think back to going to shows and stuff, and like I remember one time I was at a Seven Dust show at Finger 11 in Toronto, and it was hotter than hell. There was way too many people in the room. It was a great night, but I remember distinctly the spot that I had picked to watch the band was under the AC. And for the entire show, the only relief I got from the heat and being that close to the band was every 20 minutes or so, 4 beads of water would fall from the air conditioning system onto my face. And now thinking back, I'm realizing that it's probably just condensation from the 1,000 people that were in the room. And in COVID times, it's the most disgusting thing I could have ever done. And I actually remember it going into my mouth at one point, thinking, oh, thank God. Thank God for
so refreshing.
So I'm immune to everything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm into everything now because of that experience. But yeah, I hope that when things open up again that, I don't have a lot of complaints about going to shows. I'm getting old though, so like, sitting down is always nice if I get the
Yeah.
opportunity. But that's just because I'm an old guy. I've been in the pits. I've fallen in the pits. I've done that scene. So I want to
Yeah.
enjoy the show, and I know you're in the same boat that you just like checking out musicians and seeing how the show goes in the presentation.
Yeah. Well, the last show that we saw, at least I think the last show I saw was Don Broco when we saw them at the Hard Luck Bar in Toronto. Great show. Again, a case of a big UK band playing a really small venue in Toronto. But I was kind of annoyed because I got stuck behind this couple. I just kind of want to hang back, but I got stuck behind this couple who were just like, I don't know, they weren't really very interested in the show, and I couldn't really move anywhere else, and I'm trying to I'm really into it. So I kind of felt like, even though I'm an old person now, I was like, I would have had more fun if I was in the pit like the old days, because those people look like they're having lots of fun, and I'm enjoying myself. But I don't know, people get on my nerves at concerts. and that was even when I was younger too, is that I miss going to see live shows and being in that communal atmosphere of everybody enjoying a band together. But there are certain pet peeves involved that I'm like, if we go back to doing shows, I think, they should do it so all the tall people have to stand at the back, and you work your way down to the short people to the front, because I'm always the guy stuck behind the super tall guy. So
I do have a pet peeve about concerts. It's a festival pet peeve, actually. I went to more than a few years ago. I was at the Ottawa Blues Fest, and we went to go see Levon Helm, rest in peace, before he passed away. Levon Helm and Rush were who I went to go see. It was a great day. It was awesome. But Neil Peart, rest in peace, two of the best drummers of all time in the same night. But the thing that I had encountered that I had never seen before was when we went to go see Levon Helm, there were people there that were older than I was, obviously. And someone has told these older people that they're allowed to bring their lawn chairs and sit wherever they want for the entire show. So I want to make a public service announcement right now that if you go to see a band at a festival set, you don't own any of that space. If you can't sit or if you can't stand up in a field and watch the band, you don't get to put your seat wherever you want and then yell at the people that have working legs and can stand and watch the band. You have to accommodate yourself. You can't ruin everybody else's time because you're too old. So Nick, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to walk around the tall couple and go find your own spot.
I know. I got to be more assertive. I know that, especially in a concert setting. And so when we do eventually get back to going to concerts again, you know what? I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to enjoy the band from a vantage point that I feel comfortable with.
Well, what's funny is we went to go see Don Broco together at another club before the last time we saw them. And the energy of going to see them was insanity. And we were really close. We were we maybe weren't in the wall of death, but we were really close to the band.
Right,
and we were jumping around and having a good time, and we had our hands in the air. And it had been years since I had taken that approach to going to a concert. Mm-hmm. So it definitely, you got to get in there and get dirty sometimes. It really depends on who you're going to see, but it definitely adds to the experience, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting in the pit next time, no matter what happens. Any band, I'm in there, shoving people
Glasses off, brother. Glasses off.
Being a dick. Well, that is our headliner topic. I think it was cool that they did this experiment. Hopefully it bodes well for the future, and we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed, brother.
All right. We're going to wrap up the show in just a couple of minutes, but first we're going to get to this new feature. Yes, we've done one episode and already we've added a new feature to the show. And that is the track of the week, or in my case, I got 2 tracks, Dave. I'm already cheating. track of the week, whether this could be a new song, could be an old song, whatever we're listening to, whatever we're enjoying right now in the world of rock. For me, I sent this song to you, Dave, the other week, which was a band that I honestly haven't listened to very much other than this song. But was While She Sleeps featuring Simon Neil of Biffy Clyro, which is kind of the reason why I listened in the first place. The song's called Nervous. Like I said, never really listened to While She Sleeps before, but this song is heavy. Simon Neil's contribution is awesome. And I really dug that track. So that's one of my favorite tracks of the week. And the other one is the new track from Royal Blood called Limbo. Their new record Typhoons comes out next month. We've already heard Trouble's Coming and the title track Typhoons. Man, Royal Blood, I love these guys so much, and they just keep getting better and better.
Oh, Royal Blood is definitely on my top 5 bands right now. You know, every record is better than the last one. I don't know if you don't know Royal Blood, there's a bass player and a drummer, and the bass player uses his bass like a guitar. He's actually a classically trained pianist, so you can tell with the newer songs there's some more keyboard stuff getting worked into the writing. But they're phenomenal, man. They're just everything everyone needs in rock and roll, with 2 guys just giving it their all. They're great band. I agree, they're fantastic.
Yeah. So what's your track of the week? What have you been listening to, Dave?
Well, you know, I'll go back to, we were just talking about Weezer, and Weezer has the new album out right now, the Beach Boys-y kind of thing. And I really dig their single, All My Favorite Songs. I think it's a great song. And if you haven't dug into the new Weezer record at all, it's a great single. It's, you know, it really captures, like we were talking about earlier, the fact that they wanted it to be their Pet Soundsy kind of song. It's, you know, it's Rivers writing great catchy songs that you don't know why you like them, but you do. And all of his songs are like mathematical problems. I don't think people realize that he has a whole system in place for writing melodies on top of chord progression. Yeah. It's crazy. So whether you like him or not, it's a great single.
It works.
Yeah, it works. It definitely lets you get into something that's a little different on their end without being like blown away that, oh, what is this? You know, like, it's definitely Weezer, but it definitely has captured the essence of the new record.
Yeah, for sure. It's very enjoyable. Looking forward to the live stream. And those are our tracks of the week. And that is it for this episode of the Rock Squad podcast. We made it through episode 2. We're glad that you guys were along with us for the ride for this episode. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Rock Squad Pod. We're on YouTube. We're on, I think we're starting to get distributed through the podcast channels. I got to check on that, but that's happening. And you can follow me on Twitter at The Walking Nick. Where can the folks follow you, Dave?
On Instagram, Red Coast Records. On Facebook, Red Coast Records. Yeah, Red Coast Records. Remember to go down, subscribe to our channel. Remember to like this video. Remember to like the clips as they come out through the week. And, you know, write a comment, write a review. Tell us what you think. If you don't like Weezer, if they're the worst band you've ever heard in your life, let's hear it. If you don't like Biffy Clyro, let us know why. Let us know Let us know if you have seen them. Where did you see them? How great was the show? How did it change your world? You know, let us know. We want to hear.
For sure. And Dave and I are also musicians ourselves. We play in a little band called Fools Union. You can check us out at foolsunion.com. We're available. You can check out our tunes on Spotify and Bandcamp and Apple Music and everywhere you get your music. Check us out. We are called Fools Union. This has been the Rock Squad podcast. And we'll see you guys again for the next episode next week. Take it easy, everybody. What was our sign off, Dave? Rock on, Dave.
Rock on, Nick.
We'll see you guys later. Take it easy.